Smith? Good afternoon. Should I call you Mr. Smith, or would you prefer John?
John's fine.
Okay. Please, take a seat. Well, I'm Dr. Simon Matthews. I'm the doctor on the ward. I work under Dr. Baker, who is your consultant. Now, the purpose of this interview is partly to introduce myself, but also to get to know a bit about you. I've got about 30 minutes now, which isn't very long, but I'll be seeing you every 2 or 3 days. I do need to ask you quite a few questions today, but all our meetings won't be like this. There'll be plenty of opportunity for you to talk, as there will be with your nurses. I understand that Solomon is your primary nurse. Well, he's told me a little bit about you, John. He told me about your concerns about medication, and if it's okay with you, I'll discuss that with you at the end of the interview. Just now, it would be really helpful for me to hear your story from you. Perhaps we can start with what led you to coming into the ward. Is it difficult to talk about what's happened?
Yeah, it is. I suppose everything feels like it's all suddenly happened, you know. See, my wife left me. That was a kick in the stomach, I can tell you. Real surprise. I didn't think she'd do that, not now, you know, when I needed her the most. It's been tough. Especially since I was made redundant last June. 20 years I've been in that job. It's devastating. I remember thinking, though, at least me and the wife are okay. So our son's just started university. I should have noticed, shouldn't I?
Noticed? I'm not sure what you mean.
Jean was missing our boy. Empty nest and all that. And I didn't even notice. I was so busy feeling sorry for myself and worrying how I'd pay Tom's tuition fees and the mortgage. Not being able to find work, giving up the car. It's been going round and round in my head.
Well, that's a lot to have going on. I get the impression you feel guilty and perhaps responsible for how this has affected your family.
I've let them both down. I've mucked up.
Can you say a bit more about that?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm totally out of sync with myself. I mean, everything's gone wrong. I can't sort anything anymore. I've just lost at everything, and there's no way back. I can't see.
Well, that sounds like an awful way to be feeling. Okay, well, perhaps we'll come back to that. One of the things that Solomon mentioned was that you haven't been sleeping.
No, I can't. I couldn't before I came in, and I didn't sleep at all last night until they gave me those tablets.
And the tablets helped last night?
Yeah, I was fine with them.
Good, okay. Well, that's fine for now. Let's look at just before you came into hospital. What time would you normally go to bed?
About 10.
And what time would you fall asleep?
Don't know. Wouldn't take that long to sleep. I mean, I feel so tired all the time. But then I'll wake up about midnight. That's it for the night.
And would you be able to get back to sleep at all?
Yeah. Then get up for a pee, maybe about 2.
And could you sleep again after that?
On and off.
So, roughly, how often would you wake up?
Maybe 3 or 4 times.
And how long before you can get back to sleep?
It varies. Sometimes only about 20 minutes. Sometimes it's nearly an hour.
Well, that sounds rough. What time would you then wake up and couldn't get back to sleep?
About 6 or 7, but just lay there for a few hours.
Right. You don't feel like getting up?
Still feel exhausted, but I can't face what's coming.
And what is that?
Nothing.
You don't feel there's anything in the day or the future?
Both.
Right. Well, that must be very difficult. Do you think the morning has been the worst part of the day for you?
Not sure.
And when you think back, is there any part of the day that feels slightly better for you?
Maybe the evening. Watch a bit of telly then. Sometimes. If I was going to go out, it'd be then.
And the worst time?
The morning. Just can't get going.
And when you can't sleep, what would you be thinking about when you're lying in bed?
Jean, mostly, about letting her down. Tom. We used to get on so well, but he hardly speaks to me now.
Right. And anything else?
How humiliating it is looking for jobs I'm never going to get. Why no one wants me. Too old, I suppose. Signing on at the dole, I've never had to do that. Going over stuff. How it all happened.
And going over stuff?
Things that happened. Stuff Jean said when she left. I keep seeing her walking off with her bags, wondering why she won't speak to me.
And do you ever think about good times when you can't sleep?
No?
Do you look ahead to anything?
Not really.
What were you thinking about just then?
Nothing, really.
Can you see anything positive in the future?
No.
Right. So you're thinking about all these things at night, but do you also think about them during the day?
Yeah, all the time. Can't really think about anything else. I mean, what is there?
And does that affect your concentration?
How do you mean?
Well, can you read a book or a newspaper or follow what's going on when you watch TV?
No. No, can't read anything. And, well, now you mention it, I suppose I just have the telly on and I'm staring at it. Don't even know what I'm watching.
So would you also have trouble remembering things? Well, it sounds like you've been having a really difficult time, and I get a sense of you feeling very low indeed. You just mentioned something with Jean, but didn't feel able to say what it was.
Well, I couldn't even, have a proper relationship with her.
Could you say what you mean by proper relationship?
Intimate things. Yeah.
Do you mean a sexual relationship? So I don't mean to intrude, but could you tell me what the problem was?
How do you mean?
Well, was it because of the problems between you, or had you lost your sex drive?
Oh, it's both, probably.
And were you able to get an erection?
No. But didn't much feel like it anyway. Then I had to start sleeping in the spare room because I was tossing and turning so much. That just added to the arguments. No wonder she left me. I mean, what kind of a husband am I? I can't provide for her in any way, not financially, emotionally, or sexually.
Well, I know that's how you're feeling, John, but The type of difficulties you've described are really quite common for men who are feeling depressed, and it does sound as if you've been feeling very depressed.
So what's wrong with me? Depression.
Is that how it feels to you?
Mm.
Well, that's certainly the impression I get from talking to you. Actually, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being you feeling absolutely great and 1 you feeling about as depressed as you could get, where would you put yourself?
About 3, maybe 4, but probably 3.
Right. And where would you be normally?
Maybe 7.
Oh, that's helpful, thank you. I'd like to check a couple more things, if that's okay. You also said you hear Jean's voice talking to you, even when she's not there. What did you mean, John?
Like she's talking to me. I don't know, I'm remembering her voice. I miss hearing it.
So it's more like you thinking about her?
Mm-hmm.
So just to be clear, do you ever hear her voice as if it were in the room, being spoken to you, but she's not there with you?
No. No, it's just me thinking about her.
Okay. Now, this might seem an odd question, but do you ever have ideas about things happening to you, or what people might be thinking or doing that you later think are strange, or other people might think strange if you told them what you were thinking?
What? Sort of like a madman? No, nothing like that.
And you mean you just decided to take the tablets on the spur of the moment? Right. I was under the impression you'd been buying tablets over a period of about a week, and you'd made arrangements for the dog to be looked after and written notes.
What was the point after Jean left? Nothing. No one. Everyone would be better off without me. I did it. It's all that matters. But it was a spur of the moment thing. It was a silly thing to do. Stupid.
Can you take me through what you did?
Well, I spoke with her on Thursday, and I knew after that there'd be no chance she'd come back. I looked it up before, and I collected some tablets. I knew how to take the paracetamol. Taking 2 steps to make it sure it's successful. See, I didn't think Jean had come back with some clothes. Ironically, I'd told her I'd be away for a day or 2. So I don't remember what happened. They told me Jean called the ambulance and the hospital did what they did, and here I am.
And now?
Nothing's changed, really. Told Jean not to visit. Well, she's better off without me. I mean, I'm useless. I can't even do that properly.
So you regret not being successful?
Yeah.
If you had another opportunity, would you try again to kill yourself?
Honestly? Yeah.
And how would you do that, John?
I was an electrician. I'd know how to do it properly.
Okay. Well, that sounds very definite. Do you feel this is the only solution?
No one would miss me.
How do you know that?
I can see it when I look at people. It's what they're thinking. Jean, Tom, everyone. I'm a loser. No longer a man. Have you ever felt like a loser and how bad it feels? What would you do?
I can understand what you've told me and what you're going through. And I think we need to keep things safe for you right now, John.
Sorry, mate. I'm not having a go at you.
No, I know you're not, John. I think it must have been a very hard time for you. And I sense that it's taken a lot for you to talk about your experiences with me. But it's been really important to hear how you're feeling just now. So, just to summarise, you've been talking about feeling depressed for some time now, since losing your job, and that was made worse by your financial worries and then Jean leaving. You've not been sleeping well at all, with no appetite and lots of things that have affected you, and that suicide has felt like your only option. It seems to me, John, that for now the ward is the safest and best place for you. Okay. Now, I know you wanted to talk about the medication that was prescribed for you yesterday.